Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about eliminating the idea of space-time in order to watch your imagination blossom, explode, expand, however you want to say it. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe. We'd love to have you be a subscriber, on the channel. My name is Jess. This is a place where we help you hack through the jungles of consciousness so that you can discover the hidden treasures inside of you. My friends, it's all there, ready and waiting to be activated by you. So, this conversation today is a continuation of last week's video about how we limit ourselves. If you haven't checked that one out, go ahead and grab it first, because this is going to continue to elaborate on some of those ideas presented in that video. It's easy to forget the properties of imagination. It's easy to say, I am imagination. Everything that I am comes from imagination. Imagination comes through me for me to experience, because we often put boundaries where there are none. We create edges where there are none and separations where there are none. And something that I caught myself in the act of doing was this. And so I want to bring awareness to you, for you, through you of this really subtle shift that you can make. It's easy to look out into physical reality, our day-to-day existence, the daily grind, and perceive the linear progression of time, the, step-by-step unfolding of change that happens. And this experience feels very much grounded in space-time, right? If we go to travel somewhere, we have to traverse through space. It's a physical experience for our body. And time is change. And we perceive time as the changing of the day, the light of the day, light and dark, moving through the seasons, growing older, all of these things signify time, again, in a very visceral, sensory way, in our sensory experience. And so we hold ourselves back. The trick of manifesting and reality creation is to lean more and more into imagination and what imagination can do for us, and the acceptance of the I am and imagination as the source of who and what we are and what we are experiencing. And then learning how to massage that source to then guide what we are perceiving. And so the breakthrough that many of us are forgetting is we're just not aware that we are limiting our perception. We're limiting our definition or our perception of imagination by space-time, right? What we have done is, when we were small children, we were very imaginative, right? We looked at a piece of plastic on the table and we're like, oh, this is a piece of bread, and we pretend to eat it. We were very fantastical in our interaction with the physical surroundings. That got tamed back. That got taught. That got trained. We learned our way out of it. We were told, sometimes explicitly, quit being so, your imagination isn't real. We were told these things. And so what happened is a lot of us then kind of relegated imagination to the safe space of what is realistic. That's what I talked about in last week's video. What's realistic? What is safe? What is acceptable for me to imagine? And so our imaginations, our daily imagining, our daily visualizing, our natural simulation that we have of what tomorrow's going to be like, what next year is going to be like, what our lives are like, right? These ideas that we hold about ourselves, which is our self-concept, we tend to keep in certain tidy little boxes of our imagination, when really the immense power of our imagination is limitless, is boundless, it's infinite. And I want to really unpack that today. Because when I sat down and questioned this, it made a lot of sense. And I'm hoping it makes sense now. I know it'll make sense now. So what if there was no time? Let's eliminate time first from the space-time idea that we're holding on to. So we may see space-time out there in the 3D, in the sensory reality. But what if we eliminated time? What if there was no time? Remember that time is change. So it's the perception of change. So if there was no time, everything would be simultaneous. There would be a synchronic existence of every state of change. So if you can imagine the simultaneity of an acorn falling from the tree, being buried by leaves, sprouting, growing up into an oak tree. The oak tree dies, it falls to the ground in the forest, it rots, it returns back to soil, and then like that, you just experienced the entire existence of an oak tree, hopefully in your mind, by me just saying that out loud. And so imagine that times in an infinite capacity. Like go to the time of the dinosaurs. Right? Visit the Jurassic period right now in your mind. Like you're there. You're already, as soon as I said it, you're there. Go to the future where we've fully integrated with robots, and there's just, it's this dystopia and pollution, and hopefully not. And hopefully it's a wonderful future. See, I could see my own vision of the future. So these, as you can see, like it's all simultaneous. That is when you just tested your imagination, it showed you the simultaneity of all of those different time periods that purportedly were once in physical 3D reality and will be in physical 3D reality, and then a bunch of stuff in between, right? The oak tree, like, that is a property of imagination, is simultaneity. And so that checks out. Like, you just had that experience. That checks out of, like, there is no time. And that is essentially imagination. Imagination is the property of simultaneity, which we can directly test for ourselves. We can instantly go anywhere we want. In our mind's eye, in our imagination. Like that is something you can literally experience right now, which should bring truth to it for you. And so contrast that to this kind of limited imagination that we have on a day-to-day basis when we're saying that we're practicing reality creation or manifestation. We're often forgetting to go that big. We're forgetting the huge expanse of what imagination offers, which is timelessness. It's timelessness. It's synchronic. It's simultaneity of all states of change. So when you think about your desire, right, you're urged to think about it as if it's already true. And so, but you can also think about your desires and I already had it. Like I'm even beyond that. I have had it for a decade. I've always had it. There's a me who has had it since the beginning and never desired because it was always present. And so, yeah, you can access all of these states of change because they are simultaneous in imagination. And that is the word that encapsulates that idea of timelessness is imagination. So let's then shift to space. What is, space? When we talk about distance, spatial relationships of matter, between matter. What if there was no space? What if there was no space? Let's thought experiment this. No space would mean everything was all in one place. That's the oneness that is described in texts, right? Like Law of One and, the thought of no separation described by Neville Goddard and a lot of religious texts that I often so much fight against. That oneness, that would make sense in the context of having no such thing as space, right? Then it's all one, it's all pinpointed. right? The concept of what was before the Big Bang. What was the entity, the quantity, the existence and experience previous to the Big Bang? What was that? Total consolidation of all there is. And sometimes you're like, did we ever leave? Am I that? Is that what I am? I've actually meditated on this thought. Much like a nighttime dream, when you think about when you wake up from a nighttime dream, and in the dream, you're often going to these incredible landscapes, right? You're flying, you're going deep into the ocean. I've had some very tactile and spatial dreams where I'm traveling. Like I'm literally in one place, then in another, and just the spatial quality to the dream of feeling, again, like I do in my 3D, of being afloat in the quantity, the quality of space. And then waking up and realizing, wow, that was all coming through me. That was all, it never moved. My body never moved. It was there sleeping. But this tangible quality of spaciousness, of spatialness was coming through me. I was still experiencing it, even though my body didn't go anywhere. And so that in itself, what could we call this? This is all coming through awareness. And so this is consciousness. Like this is literally the quality of consciousness, is spacelessness. The all and the nothing coexisting. Right? When you really wrap your head around it, what is that quality? That is consciousness. So if timelessness is imagination, and spacelessness is consciousness, because consciousness can literally recall any of this. It's all in one place. It's all coming from a point of view that is you, that's contained within your vessel, your awareness, which feels small. Like it feels like one point, one fixed point, right? Wherever your body is, that's where your consciousness, your awareness is. That's what it feels like. It has a feeling quality of that, of spacelessness. And so I wanted to now reference a few quotes from Neville Goddard, who is, the grandfather of all of this, all of these thought experiments of manifesting. A few quotes. And he says, health, wealth, beauty, and genius are not created. They are only manifested by the arrangement of your mind, that is, by the concept of yourself. Replace concept of yourself with the idea of yourself. But the really good words in that, they're only manifested by the arrangement of your mind. The arrangement. So if I say that all is imagination, and we've just hopefully unpacked a bigger, more expansive definition, a feeling state of what imagination is and how vast it is, the vastness and timelessness and spacelessness of all of this that's contained within you, that amount of power that you actually have, that is an immense power. That's total creative power. And that quote came from The Power of Awareness. You recognize that you can't really mess it up, right? If it's about arranging things, it's about arrangement. You can't mess it up because the potentials are there irregardless of you. The potential for all states of being, the potential for all states of change that are simultaneously coexisting in the now moment. You can't mess that up. Because it's there. The potentials are there, like I say in my intro, ready and waiting to be activated by you. So how could you mess it up? You can't make it disappear. You can't make it go away forever. And you're also not fully creating it, right? Because it's already there. It's already in existence. So it's more of an arrangement. It is more of an arrangement. And this, I believe, releases us from this craving for the things we want. Oh my gosh, because we perceive that they're not there. They're not in existence, right? But really they are. They are there in existence. We just have to rearrange our perception and become more and more aware of them. The quality of manifesting, what manifesting really is is that there's two pieces to the holistic nature of reality creation. One is mental and the other is physical. And when we fully immerse ourselves in being what we want to be, seeing, changing that idea, rearranging the idea of who we are using imagination, focusing exclusively on what we want to be until that crowds out all the other thoughts, ideas, loyalties to other arrangements. When we fully do that mentally, then things will manifest physically. Right? Manifestation is something that is seen. And seen is a quality of sensory experience. It is not one precedes the other. Right? That is if you are intentionally trying to, you're following that pathway. Because the minute we see something in reality, we often then, it goes backwards. We're like, oh, okay, I am this person now, this is it. And then we instantly adopt the arrangement of someone who now has that or is experiencing it, right? We don't even question. Like the minute it comes into 3D, we're like, all right, bingo, it's mine, done. We don't question. But if we want to get masterful at the other way, if we want to get masterful at trusting that this is a bilateral flow, a bidirectional flow, then recognizing that if we say, I'm not seeing it out in 3D reality, that we are also not embodying it in the mental arrangement. We are definitely not, because we're looking to the 3D to say, like, it's not here, I don't see it, where is it? When we're fully immersed in the mental beingness of our, embodying our desire, like mentally saturating ourselves in our desire so that we're not even considering other realities. Like when we fully do that, it doesn't and we still don't, it's not there in 3D quite yet. You still feel like you're there like that. The mental piece is self-fulfilling, and you'll feel that. You'll know you're in the sweet spot. Because the mental piece, when you really know you are something, there is no one or nothing outside of you that can tell you otherwise. And you quit looking out there for letting it drag you down. You quit looking to the 3D to invalidate what you already know you are in mind. So, I have one more quote from Neville for you to wrap things up. The entire contents of all time and all space, while experienced in a time sequence, actually coexist in an infinite and eternal now. This is what is meant by creation, and the statement that creation is finished means nothing is ever to be created. It is only to be manifested. What is called creativeness is only becoming aware of what already is. So in mind, in imagination, remember, in timelessness it is, all exists. And our job to start to put an intentional hand in this process is to turn our attention to the arrangement that we prefer. The arrangement of ideas, right? We're thinking of ourselves as that person, as having that quality, being rich, being loved, whatever the quantity or quality or whatever we want to feel, saturating our attention with that. And then we will literally, that is how it's manifested, because in mind, it is all here now. And the last piece is the actual manifestation. That's the last piece of the game. So, not the first, the last. So, let me know what you thought. Drop a comment below. I know this was helpful to you. And if you need a tool to help you create a more peaceful, pleasant, amicable space in your own mind, if you have a really negative inner critic, or if you worry a lot or get anxious a lot, grab that tool below in the description box. It's always free for you. It will always be there. And it's what helped me kind of arrive in the space I am now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.